Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you again to our wonderful live studio audience. It's a full house here tonight, and it is a huge, huge news day. The Home Secretary is in hiding tonight. She's hiding from the British people. Today, we had this ruling about the Bell Hotel in Epping.
Therefore, we grant permission to appeal, both to Somani and to the Home Secretary, against the grant of the interim injunction.
And where is the Home Secretary? Yeah, absolutely. We haven't heard from her. Have we? Where has she gone? Look, Yvette, if you're out there, please come home. Whatever you've done, whatever you're scared of, it's all OK. We just want to know you're safe and well, Yvette. If anyone's seen Yvette, if anyone's seen her, please get in touch. She was last seen interrailing around continental Europe with her husband, Ed Balls. Hey, look, I wonder if it's because he's the only bloke she'll let interview her.
Can I ask, because we've talked about this a few times in the last few days, like many of our viewers will have done at home, what can be done, what should be done now by the social media companies and the police and the government to stop this happening? Because it's been happening for a week.
Well, you're right, Ed, that we have seen these things that are appearing online that are clearly criminal.
Well done, Ed. You asked the same question we rehearsed over breakfast this morning. Brilliant, yeah, bingo. Well, in her absence, we've had the pleasure of being served up Angela Eagle, who announced this utter guff.
Well, nobody wants to close the Bell Hotel and all other asylum hotels more than me, and we have pledged that we are going to do that by the end of the Parliament. Today's judgment allows us to do it in a planned and managed way.
Hey, look, call me a cynic, but I think that maybe there's a room full of people here who do want to close the migrant hotels a bit more than her. So, you know. But today's court ruling was this Labour government, in my view, against the people. It was the rights of illegal immigrants over the rights of British nationals. Never before has a government been so despised as this one, I think. Yvette Cooper knows it, and I think she's hiding from you. It's pathetic, it's weak. I don't think she's fit for office. Have you had a random call lately from a strange number, maybe trying to sell you something or even scam you? If so, your info could be out there. That's because of data brokers, shady companies that scrape the internet for your personal details and sell them to marketers or even scammers. These days, scammers can even use AI to mimic your friends' voices and trick you into sending money. It's not just annoying. Data brokers often target vulnerable people with high-interest loans or sketchy offers. But there is a solution. Incogni, the sponsor of this video. Incogni contacts data brokers on your behalf and requests your info be deleted from their databases. And because your data can keep popping up, Incogni keeps sending removal requests to make sure it stays gone. They've just launched a new unlimited plan with custom removals. If you find your info on a weird website, just send them the link and their privacy team will work to get it taken down. Getting started is easy. Hit the link in the description, create your account and let Incogni handle the rest. It's risk-free for 30 days and you'll get 60% off an annual plan with the code GBNews. Take back control of your data with Incogni. Yeah, I would like the views of my panel. Christian, does Yvette Cooper have to go, do you think?
Well, she won't, because she's representing government policy. I mean, this is like where the Reeve should go. She is Keir Starmer's representative in the Home Office, and if she goes, he goes. I'm actually very happy that the Home Office fought this appeal, because I think it is always very helpful to the cause to have the government admit on record in court that British citizens are a lower class citizen than illegal migrants. That only helps the fight, and it's useful to get that admission. The other point I'd make is, as much as we can all hate migrant hotels, under this government, whether the illegal migrants are in hotels is not really the issue. The alternative isn't between hotels and deportation, it's between hotels and putting them in homes of multiple occupancy in your streets. And in that circumstance, actually, maybe I'd rather have them in hotels where they're slightly easier to keep a grip of and police, even though we don't. Obviously, we want them out, but for now, the fight continues.
Christian, what does it say about the Home Secretary that she's not decided to grace us with her presence over over this issue. It's a huge issue. It's the biggest issue for the country. She hasn't even tweeted since...
Patrick,
what?
She's interrailing, for goodness sake. You know, it's funny when I think about the Bell Hotel, because I listen to those judges' comments and I think, Bell, ending this would be really, really important if we could. Now, I'm so staggered with this government because they're so thick. I'm sorry, they're so stupid because they really, I mean, being absolutely serious now, the optics of this look so bad, and they have like zero idea of how this looks to people, of the fact that if you're an Epping resident and you're upset or worried about this, they have basically said your opinion is worthless and that migrants are ahead of you. I don't know what they're trying to achieve. It's like they're winning, they've won, but have they won the war here? And I don't think they have, and they won't win the war of public opinion on this.
Sorry, well, why is Yvette Cooper hiding from the public?
Well, I don't think she is, but let's just take this in terms of the Court of Appeal judgment. It found that the lower court had misdirected itself on planning law. But it's not rubbish, because it's actually what the court said in its judgment, OK? It had misdirected itself. In fact, they said the judge's approach was seriously flawed. And there are two counts on planning law. One was the delay that the council had made in actually coming to a planning decision, which left the hotel in that position, even though for 18 months there had been people in there from the migrant community. So they also made it very clear that Article 3 of the European Convention on Human Rights was not pursued in oral argument, contrary to what Christian said. And to make it doubly clear, the court actually stated any argument in this particular context about a hierarchy of rights is, in our view, unattractive.
Yeah,
of course it's unattractive. Of course it's unattractive to the politicians and the judges.
Sorry, and that is therefore not the basis on which they took the decision. But let's talk about the substantive issues around the hotel, OK? Yeah. One of the things I've learnt in politics is that when somebody offers you a simple solution, like close down the hotel, it's rarely that simple. And Christian agreed with that. You have to ask what happens next. Where do all the people go? Where are the detention centres that you're proposing to use? Which community is going to open their arms to them?
OK.
But hang on.
Well, we spoke for a little while. I want to bring Jane in, because we're pressed for time.
I'm sure that we'll be talking about this for quite a long time. But the point is, it's not just good enough to cart from the sidelines. We saw what happens when you announce a simplistic policy earlier this week, when Farage said he was going to send 600,000 people back. And 24 hours later, he had to eat his words because he couldn't.
All right, let's bring Jane in to begin.
The fact is, sometimes in politics, you are snookered, and I'm afraid the Home Office has been snookered by this. Had the judgment been upheld, then loads of other authorities would have done the same thing. The judge did speak about rewarding the protests, which he was very worried about. That is true, because if you protest enough outside your migrant hotel, it will close. And I think the judge wanted to stamp down on that. The problem is the British people have had enough, and they don't see anything that is working from the Labour government. The Labour government does not have the stomach to take the measures to do a proper deterrent. The Conservative government closed...
No, sorry. You had 400 hotels. We've now got 200 or less.
Yes,
yeah, but they were all closed under the Tories.
Go on.
You've closed the Labour
3.
government keeps saying that they've closed half their hotels. They haven't. They've closed 3. 200 for all the mess. Some of the, what the Tories got up to. Yes, they peaked at 400, but by the time Rishi Sunak left number 10, they'd already halved, and Labour's now taking credit for this, which is shameless. I'll also just address one thing. You're quite right to point out that the judge said it would be very unappealing if people were to make accusations about the motives behind this case. I say the judiciary in this country is so politically outrageous and biased as to be correct. And needs burning down and starting again.
Metaphorically, of course.
Yeah.
We are looking at live images here, if you're watching us on TV or online, of outside the Bell Hotel. So, as we understand it, there's 10 minutes before the police would have to step in and remove the protesters. I'm not sure if people have decided to leave voluntarily yet. We'll check in. We'll check in and see on that. There is an issue that has reared its head regarding the judiciary, which we are going to touch on at the 10 p.m. hour. A remarkable scene, really, which is that one of the judges, Lord Justice Bean, who was a member of the Labour Party for 28 years, was the founder of Matrix Chambers, which are the same chambers that our Attorney General, Lord Hermer, worked from, and also, for reference as well, the KC who operated for Mauritius in the Chagos surrender deal. He worked at Matrix Chambers as well. He was the treasurer for the Society of Labour Lawyers and also the chairman of the Fabian Society. He was the man who was reading out that ruling earlier on. It's not a good look. We will go to that. Just before we go to the break, there's a lady in the audience. Would you like to make a quick point on this before we go to the break? Would that be all right?
Well, yeah, it's only to say, well done to Epping women, mothers, to doing what they've done. But in regards to Starmer now has just shown his true colours, how he values asylum seekers more than his own. Yeah. I find it's disgusting.
All right. Well, we're going to return to this at 10 p.m. because the government is very say, oh gosh, there's not a hierarchy of rights, but it's a question of perception. I mean, there's a court, and there's also a court of public opinion, isn't there? But we are going to return to this, and we're going to check back in with Epping as well in a few minutes' time and see what action the police take.